Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? How's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. It is Saturday the 29th. I keep thinking it's Sunday on the day off, but it is Saturday the 29th, and welcome into tonight's live. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see you guys. I don't know why it puts me full screen like that. I don't know. I don't really like it, but welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We'll see who's kind of in the chat, and we'll get people to get in here and get settled in, and then we'll get started with tonight's live. Won't take us too long, I'm sure. But I saw we had some new names in the chat tonight, and I love that. I love that. I love that people are still finding the channel after 3 years of being on the platform. I've heard in the comment section that you guys are like, we've never heard of your channel before, and I'm glad that you guys are here. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. It's nice to meet you. You can call me either or. I don't prefer one over the other. All I ask is that you enjoy the video. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Hopefully you'll subscribe, and hopefully you'll hit the like button. So that's what I do hope. Hey, Ladybug. Hey, Mary Beth. Look at that. We got both of you in here. First thing. Hey, Brian. Welcome in. Hey, Dawn. Good to see you guys. Oh, I like that with all the little animals, because we've got a full house of animals in here tonight. I think the cat isn't here. The cat's not here. But welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. I see all the blues I'm trying to go through. You guys were talking. Hey, B. Tim's Water Wings. That's a funny name. I love that. I love when you guys do that. Like the subscribers do that. Hey, Mary. Good to see ya. Hey, Karen. It's good to see ya. When I was going back up through the names, I thought I saw your name. I was like, is that Karen? Is it hindsight? Okay. Well, I love the new name. I think it's funny. I love it. Thank you for telling me though, because I wouldn't have known. I'd have been like, oh, look at this person. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Rocky. Welcome in. Hey, Lisa. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Just Breathe. Classic One. Catherine. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Stacy. Sorry if you can hear my dog back there. She's making some noise. She's trying to get comfy. Oh, well, thank you, Karen. Was that what it was? Today, I was in there for like a minute. I spent the day with Vincent, so I was like, "What are they doing over there?" I just thought it was because it was almost summer. That's so funny. And now you have to wait to change it. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Lisa. Well, I would keep the name. I think it's so funny. Well, we missed you too. I'm glad you're back. It's good to see you. It's good to see you in the chat. Okay. Well, now that everybody's accounted for, I think we're missing a couple. I haven't seen Aries today. B Tim's Water Wings. Did you see Aries over in Queen Bee's chat? I feel like I'm his big sister. I think I'm older than him. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he's like in his 20s. He's like mid-20s, I think. So I could be his older sister. But I always am like, where's that guy at? Where is he? Where is he at? I didn't know if he was in the show last night when we went over Long Island serial killer at the end. So I was going to see if he had seen that. See, it puts me back at full screen. I guess it'll be fine. It does. It does cut through the ugly. He wasn't impressed. He's such a party pooper, isn't he? Did anybody have on Crocs for him? Hey, Lucia. Oh, thank you for becoming a member again, Karen. Thank you. And welcome in, Tony. It's good to see you. Did I say hi to PKC? There's PKC. Hello. How'd you become a member twice? That's so weird. I don't know how I did that. How did you do that, Karen? Well, we know you just wanted to be in there once. So I think it will just charge you the one time. So I've never seen someone become a member twice. Look at that. He shot us all with a paintball gun in our knees. Don't take out their knees. But, hey, if you need to get rid of bees, tell B Tim, TitaniumBuilt's dog eats bees for fun. Like the brown one that just, got out of the pen pretty much. She loves eating bees. I can't get her to stop. Like I'll leave the back door open a little, like so the cat, I let my cat go out on the balcony, and the dogs, if they want to go out on the balcony, when it's warm and it's not too warm, I'll let them do that. But if she sees a bee, she is on it. Hey, Sailor Outlaw. Well, welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. Like I said, basically tonight we're going to go over some stuff with the Idaho 4. I thought we would start out with a summary and timeline of the case, and then move on to this new podcast that came out that we've been watching. It's the one, there's a couple we've been watching. It's the Idaho, the King Road Killings, the podcast, but it's a new podcast that they're doing, but it has the same lady on it, Keena Wentworth. So it's not much different, but it has a guy. So I think that's what it is. So I think that's what it is. But I thought we'd go over a timeline because I know a lot of people are new to the channel, and they're new to this case. A lot of people may have come in through like Sebastian Rogers' case, or any of the other cases that have been going on. I can't even think of any, but like Quentin Simon, we've covered that. But I'm trying to think of cases that we haven't really been. Well, I'm trying to think of bigger cases, I guess. But a lot of you guys are newer, and thank you so much, Margot, for gifting out memberships. That's so nice. Welcome in, everybody. But yeah, I thought we could go back to the beginning and just kind of like get a timeline of everything that's going on. And the timeline has changed because of all the new information that's been coming out over the last few weeks. We've been getting a ton of new information. I can't even keep up. What I need to be doing is taking notes every time we get something that's new, which I do take notes up here, but I need to take like physical notes on a piece of paper because I think that would work out better for me. But I thought we'd go through the summary and timeline, and then we'll listen to the podcast, and we'll just like commentate through the podcast. All the things that we've kind of heard over the last couple weeks, and just kind of sit back and take it all in. And because it's been a lot, and I feel like we'll read the documents, and then I get off the live, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what did we just read? What happened? So I figured it'd be a good start. Figured this would be a good start. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, we'll get started. Hey, Wiley Cat, we got some people coming in. If I didn't say hi to you, I'm sorry. Hey, Classic One, I think I said hi to you, but I'm not sure. Document dump. Yeah, they did a big document dump on us. I can't believe they gave us that much information all at once. I mean, it was like they released the gag order almost, which I've heard from like looking on the Facebook page of the Gonzalez family and through interviews with him and just interviews in general, that they're very happy that this information's coming out. Like they didn't know this stuff. Like they didn't know about the Dick's, the balaclava purchase of the Dick's, facial mask. They didn't know about the Amazon K-bar purchase. Like we all heard about that happening, but we didn't have concrete evidence that it happened up until now, that he did, buy it. And that's what his click history is. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with this. And thanks for being here. So if you don't know anything about this case, you're about to learn. But it says the killings of 4 University of Idaho students in mid-November at an off-campus residence stunned the small community of Moscow, where investigators grappled with what the town's police chief would later describe as a very complex case. No suspect was immediately named in the deaths of housemates Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Thana Kernodle, 20, as well as Kernodle's boyfriend Ethan Chapin, 20. Nor was a murder weapon believed to be a large fixed blade knife found. So, they didn't find the murder weapon. But the intense scrutiny on the unsolved slaying sparked thousands of tips to the FBI. Then nearly 7 weeks later, with the community on edge and speculation swirling about who could commit such violence, police announced an arrest in Pennsylvania of a doctoral student in criminal justice. The suspect, Brian Kohlberger, is scheduled to go on trial on August 11th. Here's a timeline of key moments in the case. So they are starting trial August 11th, like they said, and then they'll be doing jury selections the last week of July. So November 12th, 2022, starting at around 9 p.m., Kernodle and Chapin were seen at a party at Chapin's fraternity, Sigma Chi, a short walk from the King Road apartment house where the roommates lived, according to investigators. And if you watched the live last night, Kaylee was really nice to get us footage from around that area. So you guys actually saw the drive from Sigma Chi to the King Road house. It says that night, Gonzalez uploaded pictures to her Instagram account featuring photos of the friends with the caption, "One lucky girl to be surrounded by these people every day." At about 10 p.m., Gonzalez and Mogan go to a sports bar in Moscow, the Corner Club. On November 13th, 2022, at about 1:30 a.m., Gonzalez and Mogan are seen ordering from a nearby food truck, according to the truck's live stream. And I think we've all seen this video before. We'll play it, though.
That's the second one? Awesome.
And they'll be coming up in the upper left.
It's right here.
Oh, they're already up there ordering. Sorry, so they're already up there ordering.
Carbonara mac and cheese.
Here, I'll grab it for you.
Excellent. And then click see rewards.
Enjoy.
And it looks like you not quite have enough points yet.
Is the police department, are investigators aware of that video, and has it helped put together that timeline?
We are aware of that video, and it has helped. It gives us a time and space where we know that 2 of our victims were, and that helps us a ton, and we'll continue to follow up all leads that we can and continue to gather those.
Okay. Investigators say Kernodle and Chapin returned to their 3-level house on King Road at about 1:45 a.m., while Gonzalez and Mogan take a car ride home, arriving at about 1:56 a.m. And the reason why they got that grub truck video, and they got it so fast, and they got it at all, was because of Kaylee's family. Her sister particularly, she was down there sleuthing away. So she found the video. She had talked to the driver. She knew exactly when they were dropped off, because at first they were saying that everybody was dropped off and at home at 1:45. And she's like, no, that's not right. They were still like at the food truck. And so They like changed the time. So it says, meanwhile, 2 other housemates who had gone out that night had arrived home before the others at about 1 o'clock. At 1:58 a.m., a 911 call is placed on the cell phone of one of the other housemates requesting assistance for an unconscious person. Police alert the public about the deaths in a case or in a news release, and while they say no one is in custody, they do not believe there is an ongoing community risk based on information gathered during the preliminary investigation. Now that we know more about the preliminary investigation, like we know, they found like the sheath and all of that. I still don't see, and we know that, they were murdered with a knife. I still don't see why there wouldn't be a public, like where there wouldn't be a public risk. I still think that there would be a public risk. I would still be like, everyone needs to be super vigilant. There is somebody armed and dangerous out there. But they weren't really doing that, during the press conferences. It didn't seem like. It seemed like they were just kind of, I don't know. Hey, Trixies. They're just kind of making it not like it was a big deal. I mean, they knew it was a big deal, but they were, I don't know. I think they were trying to reassure people in a way because they do have a lot of students there. But at the same time, like, it was just too much back and forth. So then November 16th, 2022, and everybody at first thought that this could have been like, we didn't know these people. We didn't know about them. We didn't even really know their names up until like the 16th. And I feel like before then, we kind of thought maybe it was like an overdose situation. A lot of people thought that. And so when, it comes to come find out it was not rug related, then everybody like descended on this case because we all wanted to know what happened then. But it says, with no suspects apprehended, Moscow police walked back previous comments that there was no threat to the largely royal city of almost 26,000 residents. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there. Moscow Police Chief James Fry says in a news conference, he adds that more than 25 investigators with the Idaho State Police and the FBI are assisting in the case. November 17th, 2022, preliminary autopsy results show that 4 victims were likely attacked with a large knife and died sometime after 2 a.m. from multiple stab wounds. Latah County Coroner Kathy Mabbitt says she described their wounds as pretty extensive. I would say they're probably very extensive. November 18th, 2022, police say the victims were most likely asleep when they were slain, and some of them had defensive wounds. There was no sign of SA. Meanwhile, detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters near the home to search for possible evidence, and they contact local businesses to determine if the knife was recently been purchased. They never checked that trash on the backside, though. That back porch stood there forever. Up until like they demolished the house, that trash was back there. I don't understand that. Like I'm gonna be on that trash till the day I die. You're gonna hear me saying this in future lives forever. Why didn't they take the trash in the backyard? I mean, I'm sure that they did before the demo, but it was back there for, a good year or whatever it was. It was a long time it was back there. So then on November 30th of 2022, I don't know if you guys got to see this, but they held a vigil at the University of Idaho in honor of the victims with some family members in attendance. And they actually went up there and they spoke. It was very, very lovely. We're going to get our justice. Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee's father, says, adding that his daughter and Mogan had been best friends since the 6th grade. And he had learned that they were in the same bed when they were killed. They went to high school together. Then they started looking at colleges. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together, he said. And in the end, they died together. December 1st, 2022, Moscow police reaffirmed that quadruple homicide was part of a targeted attack after authorities appeared to suggest the opposite. We remain consistent in our belief that this was indeed a targeted attack, but have not concluded if the target was the residents or its occupants. A police spokesperson says, why would anybody target the house? It wasn't that nice. I don't know. Maybe they thought it was that nice, but it wasn't. The department also continues to dispel online rumors and speculation and says it has cleared certain people from people seen interacting with Gonzalez and Mogan on the evening they were killed. Police also say the 2 housemates who were home during the attacks had been sleeping that night. Well, now we know that's not true. December 2nd, 2022, the 2 housemates, Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen, released letters saying they are struggling to accept why the lives of 4 beautiful people were taken so brutally. December 5th, detectives focused on Chapin and Kernodle's activities on the evening they were killed and asked the public for information about the nearly 5 hours from when the couple arrived at Sigma Chi party to the apartment house on King Road. December 6th, 2022. And I remember Brian Enton being there like on scene trying to talk to like the fraternity brothers, and none of them wanted to talk. Like nobody wanted to talk about this. Like, I don't know if the police told them just to kind of like not talk and it would be better for them or what, but none of them were talking. And I do believe it was better that they didn't talk, because if they would have got themselves involved with creators on YouTube, I think that could be a big old mess, you know? Hey, there's Aries. I just happened to look right at it. I was looking for you, Aries, earlier. I was like, where's Aries? I hadn't seen you today, so. I said, I feel like I'm your big sister looking to see where you are. Hey, Rhonda, welcome in. Hey, Wizard Walt. Hey, hey, Auburn. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. The conspiracy theories have already been out there. I mean, it's been nuts. It says December 6th, police say they recognize how frustrating the lack of news can be for the families and the public, but insist they do not want to jeopardize the case. We are at a point in the investigation where we are still gathering information. We're gathering tips. We're still gathering evidence. We're still doing everything we need to do, Fry says in a video posted online. December 7th, police begin removing personal items of the victims from the apartment house and returning them to their families. They also announced what appears to be an integral part of the investigation. They say they're looking to speak with any occupants of a white Hyundai Elantra from 2011 to 2013 with unknown license plates. They do not say whether they believe the driver is linked to the killer, but say that person may have critical information to share. December 15th, 2022, Christy Gonzalez, Kaylee's mother, expresses frustration during an interview with NBC's Today Show that she only learned about the police interest in the Hyundai Elantra when the rest of the public did, underscoring how some of the victims' families feel left in the dark. December 21st, 2022, Fry tells NBC News that his department is in daily contact with the families, and we ask them to be patient as the investigation progresses. The police chief again insists the investigation is not a cold case, and our end goal is to bring someone to justice for those families and those victims. I mean, December 21st, like, why would we even consider that a cold case? It's been a month. I mean, you know, he was a PhD student going for criminal justice. And we saw the thesis thing that he wrote, you know, he knew what to look up for. I'm surprised he left the damn sheath. And I know that he left that sheath because he realized in the heat of the moment that, wow, there's 2 of them here. You know, like, I'm not just here to get rid of, you know, and unalive Maddie, but now I have Kaylee coming in. In my opinion, she came in from her room, in my opinion, flying at him, I'm sure, scratching, clawing, punching. You know, there's going to be DNA under the fingernails. Someone is going to have some DNA that links back to Ryan Kohlberger. There's got to be. But I do believe maybe with Ethan, maybe he did like bear spray him or pepper spray him somehow. I don't know. I don't know how he took Ethan down. I don't know how he did that. Unless the adrenaline was just pumping that much. Because I feel like Ethan was the last one to be unalived, maybe. And if that's the case, then 3 people. And you still have like energy to go through a 4th, maybe that's why he didn't even mess with Dylan. He was just exhausted. But then December 30th, we get, you know, the police announcement of an arrest. Brian Christopher Kohlberger, 28, a resident of Pullman, Washington, then a doctoral student at Washington State University. He is apprehended in northeastern Pennsylvania, about 2,500 miles from the Idaho campus, and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary. According to 2 law enforcement sources, DNA evidence played a key role in linking the killings to Kohlberger. We can listen to this when they announce it.
Last night, in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, detectives arrested 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohlberger
Does he seem like he almost wants to cry?
in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania,
I'd cry.
on a warrant for murders of Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee. I want to personally thank these agencies for their assistance in this case. Kohlberger resides in Pullman, Washington, and is a graduate student at Washington State University. We will provide as much information as we can about the extradition to Idaho and the criminal process. However, due to Idaho state law, we are limited in what information we can release today until Kohlberger has his initial appearance in Idaho court. I want to express my appreciation to our local community, the people of Idaho, and those throughout our nation who provided information to help us investigate these murders has been very impressive. We've received over 19,000 tips, and we've conducted over 300 interviews. To recap this case, on the evening of November 12th, Kaylee and Madison arrived home at about 1:56 a.m. after visiting a local bar and street food vendor. Ethan and Zana were at the Sigma Chi house before arriving home around 1:45 a.m. The 2 surviving roommates had also been in the community but returned around 1 a.m. On the morning of November 13th, a 911 call was made at 11:58 a.m., reporting an unconscious person at the residence. The call came from inside the home from one of the surviving roommates' cell phones. Moscow police responded and found 2 victims on the 2nd floor and 2 victims on the 3rd floor. On November 17th, autopsies were conducted, and the Latah County coroner confirmed the identity of the 4 victims. The cause and manner of death was homicide by stabbing. Some had defensive wounds, and each had been stabbed multiple times. These murders have shaken our community, and no arrest will ever bring back these young students. However, we do believe justice will be found through the criminal process. This was a very complex and extensive case. We had developed a clear picture over time, and we stand assured that the work is not done, but be assured the work is not done. This has just started.
That's sad. I'll make sure this doesn't play again. What's it doing? Don't play. Don't you play. Don't play. Okay.
This afternoon
see?
at
I knew it was going to do that. I don't even know what that is. That's about a plane crash. Okay. So it just says at a news conference, Fry says he believes Kohlberger is the only suspect. And I believe that too. If you have more than one person, I feel like things are going to get sloppy. Someone's going to mess up even more than what happened. You know, I don't know. I could just see one person doing this, especially, I don't know, with how fast it happened. I don't know, but you can let me know what you guys think. It says, what I can tell you is that we have an individual in custody who committed these horrible crimes, he says. And I do believe our community is safe. December 31st, 2022, the public defender of Monroe County, Pennsylvania, where Kohlberger is being held, says the suspect intends to waive his extradition hearing to face charges in Idaho, which was smart because it would just be like another 10 days he would sit in Pennsylvania jail, and then he would have to go to Idaho. The only reason why I would do that is just so I could see my family a little more, like a little longer. Because, I mean, obviously his family hasn't been out to Idaho to see him. So He should be presumed innocent until proven otherwise, not tried in the court of public opinion, Jason LaBar says in a statement, adding Mr. Kohlberger is eager to be exonerated of these charges and looks forward to resolving these matters as promptly as possible. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. The dude didn't even say he was guilty or not guilty during the arraignment. And he waived his right to a speedy trial. He's not trying to get out of there promptly. He's been in there almost 3 years. January 3rd, 2023, Kohlberger appears in court and agrees to return to Idaho. January 4th, 2023, Kohlberger is flown across the country in Pennsylvania in a Pennsylvania State Police plane and booked into Latah County Jail. If his fear was flying, then he was probably really fearful in that plane. I think it held like 5 people or something. Like it was like a 6-seater plane. January 5th, 2023. Hey, Stephanie. Welcome in, everybody. Kohlberger makes his first appearance in an Idaho court and is ordered held without bail. Another pretrial hearing is set for January 12th. Investigators say male DNA discovered on an ice sheaf was used to link Kohlberger to the crime scene and that they had been tracking his car, a white Hyundai Elantra, and cell phone use in the area, according to newly released court documents. January 18th, 2023, a list of seized items from a search warrant for Kohlberger Pullman's Washington apartment is made public. The belongings include a pillow with a reddish/brown stain, a disposable glove, and at least a dozen strands of hair. And I'm assuming the dozen strands of hair are like longer than his or look different than his, and that's why they took those. But maybe Kohlberger had a lady friend over. February 28th, 2023, a search warrant for the home of Kohlberger's parents in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, reveals more items seized, including 4 medical-style gloves, a silver flashlight, and a buccal swab DNA test. Do y'all remember from the search warrant, they also took a black mask? I'm wondering if it's the balaclava. I meant to grab the paperwork out of the closet, but I forgot to do that earlier. We'll have to do that on our next live. Because remember when they had, remember when they went to the house and they seized a bunch of Brian Kohlberger's things, and it was literally like 140 some items. I want to say 144, 141, something like that. And you couldn't barely read it. Like it was a lot of numbers and stuff. And you're like, what does that say? So me and Vincent sat down 2 years ago when this came out, 2.5 years ago when this happened. And we went over every single thing because a lot of it was clothing, and I knew the clothing, and then he knew all the all the other stuff was electronics. It was like hard drives, motherboards, like things like that, computers, and they had like serial numbers, and he could read out that part. So we'll have to go over that in one of our next lives because it was a lot of items they took. And I'm wondering if that mask that they took was the balaclava. Or if he got rid of that with everything else. I mean, he could have, I think Snake River, but I have said maybe he would bury it, but I don't know. I know that he was, off the grid for 3 hours at night. So maybe he did bury it. So then we come to March 13th. Prosecutors seek data from major tech firms such as Apple and Amazon, as well as social media platforms and retailers as part of their investigation, according to court documents made public. They also request bank and social media information tied to the 4 victims in order to build a digital picture of the crime and the suspect. April 21st, 2023, Funk, one of the surviving housemates, files a motion to quash a subpoena that would require her to testify at Kohlberger's preliminary hearing in June. While an investigator for his defense said in an affidavit that she knows information that would be exculpatory to the defendant, Funk in her motion said the statement is without support and there is no further information or detail pertaining to the substance of this testimony, its materiality, or the alleged exculpatory information. April 26, 2023, Funk agrees to interview with the defense counsel according to a court filing, but she won't have to travel to Idaho. I think that's when they went to her. May 4th, 2023, Newly released police body cam video shows Kohlberger being pulled over for allegedly running a red light in Pullman, Washington in October 2022, about a month before the slayings in Moscow. Washington State University campus police let him go with a warning. May 16th, 2023, a Latah County grand jury returns an indictment against Kohlberger on the murder charges, paving the way for an arraignment and a trial. That really skipped, didn't it? May 22nd, 2023, Kohlberger, during his arraignment, stands silent when asked to enter a plea. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll real quick. This is a good poll. Oh, not that. Okay. I'll read it out to you. Would you stand silent if you didn't commit a crime? Okay. There's a poll. I'm like, would you guys stand silent? Hey, KCG. Hey, Captain. Hey, Boone. It's good to see you guys. I mean, I wouldn't stand silent. And if you're going to say, well, he has autism, well, so do I. So you can't play that card, not here. I just, I think they're probably going to say that too, that he stood silent, and that's probably why. But he stood silent, prompting Latah County District Judge John Judge to enter a not guilty plea on his behalf for the murder and burglary charges. A trial is tentatively set for October 2nd. Tentatively, my ass. In addition, prosecutors have 60 days to give notice if they'll seek the death penalty. June 16th, 2023, DNA on the knife sheath found on the off-campus home directly links Kohlberger to the crime scene, according to court documents filed by prosecutors. June 22nd, Kohlberger's attorney says in court filing that there is no connection between him and the slain students, and that other men's DNA was found at the scene. I would be surprised if there wasn't other males' DNA found at the scene, really. His attorney also claims that police investigated various possible suspects, many of whom provided DNA, including at least one who allegedly had his DNA surreptitiously taken from a discarded cigarette, and others who had their phones taken and downloaded, the filing says. June 26, 2023, prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty against Kohlberger if he is convicted, writing in court filing that aggravating circumstances in the especially heinous killings led to the decision. Idaho has not carried out an execution since 2012. That changed last year. They finally executed the one guy they had on death row. I don't know if it's the one guy, but he was there for like 40 years on death row. That's a long time to be living. If you think about it, if you're on death row, I mean, that's 40 years. Shit. I mean, that's a long time. I'd probably say, are you ready? We doing this, bro? Like, I mean, really, after 40 years, I would be like, because I would be scared every day was the day, I'm going to get they're going to give me the paper saying like, this is the date of your execution, you just live out your whole life. But Idaho does do the firing squad as their number one means of execution now. And they're the only state. Idaho don't mess around. They don't mess around. July 4th, some families of the victims speak out against the University of Idaho's plans to demolish the King Road residence before the start of the fall semester on August 21st. The home itself has erroneous evidentiary value, as well as being the largest and one of the most important pieces of evidence in the case, an attorney for the Gonzalez family tells the Idaho Statesman. But the school responds that neither the prosecution nor the defense is objecting to the demolition. Well, that, and they had taken out walls, floorboards, flooring, to test. There was asbestos in the house. You want to hurt a bunch of people? Send in the jury then. July 12th, 2023, reversing course, the University of Idaho says it will halt tearing down the King Road house. We know that every action and decision around this horrific incident is painful and invokes emotions. University President Scott Green says in a statement, that is why every decision we have made this far is with the families of the victims and our students in mind. Now remember, July 12th, that's when he said that. July 25th, 2023, Kohlberger's lawyers filed a motion seeking to get his indictment dismissed, arguing that the grand jury was misled to the standard of proof required for an indictment. They say the standard should be beyond a reasonable doubt, but claim the grand jury was erroneously instructed with presentment, which they say would have mean having a reasonable ground for believing the defendant has committed an alleged offense. Sorry. And yeah, Ann Taylor didn't win that fight. Kohlberger, on August 23rd, he waives his right to a speedy trial during an appearance in Latah County Court, where his legal team says it may not be ready by the October start date. A new date has not been immediately decided. His lawyers also say they will file a motion to strike the death penalty and file another motion seeking to ban cameras in the courtroom. Oh yeah, meaning to tell you, the Judge Hippler, he ruled, and cameras are in the courtroom. So we will be able to watch the trial from the comfort of our home. You will not have to see me fighting for a seat in there, because that's a small courthouse compared to the family that's going to be in there, the press that's going to be in there. People say they're going. I'm telling them they're going to be lucky to be able to get in. If you are just a YouTuber, no offense, but because we're all just YouTubers, but you're going to be on the bottom. Like, you're going to be even like, there's going to be like a separate list for you that's not even on the approved list. I feel like, just because I feel like it could cause a lot of drama. I don't know. I think they're going to let more news and stuff in there. So, and then Brian Kohlberger's family's coming, but I guess the defense, or like, they don't have a say if like, they don't have the right to have people there like the prosecution does. I never knew that. I thought that both sides were allowed to have people with them, but no, you got to get them people approved. So, October 31st, Halloween comes. We're all celebrating Halloween, and federal investigators return to the King Road home to gather more evidence and create a replica of the residence that can be used at trial. November 13th, the University of Idaho marks 1 year since the slayings with the vigil in the victim's honor. December 14th, 2023, Kohlberg's defense team is permitted inside the King Road home to gather documentation it needs before trial. December 15th, 2023, a Latah County District Court denies the defense's team's request to dismiss the indictment against Kohlberger on various reasons. Kohlberger has failed to successfully challenge the indictment on grounds of juror bias, lack of sufficient inadmissible evidence, or prosecutorial misconduct, Judge John Judge writes. Kohlberger was indicted by an impartial grand jury who had sufficient admissible evidence to find probable cause to believe Kohlberger committed the crimes allegedly by the state. Details of the ruling itself remain sealed. Latah County prosecutors, this is December 21st, Latah County prosecutors file a request for Kohlberger's trial to be held in the summer of 2024. Well, we know that didn't happen. So, December 28th. Now, remember the date I told you to keep in mind. What was it, July 25th? Oh, wait, right here. July 12th. We're going to halt on tearing down the house because we feel for the families. We don't want to do that to the families. We don't want to hurt the families. We're thinking of the families. What was that? 4 or 5 months later, they're like, we're going to go ahead and tear it down. And we're not going to even tell the families. We're going to do it earlier than what we told the families. It was supposed to be 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, that house was supposed to start going down. I'm glad that we were on here early because we just be early people, but we got to see it. But I'll tell you who didn't. Christy Gonzalez. She went to get her morning cup of coffee before she had to sit down and watch the most horrific thing that she probably has to watch other than her daughter being buried. Or I'm sorry, she wasn't buried, but coming home in an urn. And she sees her daughter's bedroom, coming down. That was what she saw. It's sad. It's so sad. December 28th, 2023, the King Road house is demolished despite objections from 2 of the victims' families who say it should remain standing for trial in the event it would help understand what happened. I don't believe that, though. It would have to be, if you're going to do an experiment, it would have to be the same time at night, the same people, the same things are in the house, like furniture, everything would have to be exactly the same. And they had already taken out walls and, did all the whole thing. So It says, but Latah County prosecutors tell the University of Idaho in an email from December 22nd that the current condition of the premises is so substantially different than at the time of the homicides that a jury view would not be authorized. I think this is just where they demolished it. March 1st, 2024, the Gonzalez and Kernodle families released a statement voicing their frustration after a judge at a hearing suggests the murder trial likely won't begin until 2025. I understand. I couldn't imagine waiting this long. It's a long time. April 17th, Kohlberger's lawyers filed an updated alibi defense saying that cell phone tower data will show that he liked to take late night drives along the Washington-Idaho border, but was miles away when the victims were killed. They say they intend to rely on testimony at trial from cell phone tower data expert Cy Ray. Yeah, Cy Ray, let's talk. Because your stuff didn't make any damn sense to me last night, but everyone's rooting for you. May 31st, 2024, a hearing scheduled for June over whether to move the trial out of Latah County is delayed until August 29th. The filing comes a day after another pretrial motions hearing in which Ray testified. June 27th, 2024, the judge lays out a plan that would allow Kohlberger's trial to commence in June 2025. Both his legal team and prosecutors agree. Then why aren't we doing it June 2025? August 29th, 2024, a change of venue hearing is held to determine whether Kohlberger's trial should be moved out of Latah County, but the judge says he needs more time to conduct research before making a decision. Judge John Judge also said that they would keep the same date for trial, no matter where the trial was moved to. And I'm like, you can't guarantee that. That judge may be booked up for that day or those 2 weeks. He may have another murder case he's working on. Like, I don't know. That judge was ready to get it out of his hands. August 29th, a change of venue hearing is held to determine whether Kohlberger's trial should be moved out of Latah County, but the judge says he needs more time. Sorry, I read that already. September 5th, in new filings, Kohlberger's attorneys argue that the state's pursuit of the death penalty violates the U.S. Constitution. That was the first time they wanted to say something about the death penalty. So now he's autistic. September 6, 2024, the judge grants the defense request for a new trial venue outside of Latah County, but doesn't immediately decide where. September 12th, the Idaho Supreme Court orders the trial to be moved 300 miles from Latah County to Ada County, where the state capital of Boise is located. The case is expected to be reassigned to Court Judge Stephen Hippler. And I like him. I like Stephen Hippler. Things are getting done. Things are happening. I like it. October 8th, 2024, Hippler, the new judge in the case, orders the trial to begin on August 11th, 2025, and says it could run about 3 months, including a penalty phase if needed. So get comfortable. Make sure you got enough snacks, water, all that, to get you through. And what's going to happen here? I think they said they were going to do, I don't know if they're still going to do it this way. Remember, they were going to do the trial from like 8:30 to 3:30. That way it gives people time to still do things, like the jurors to still get things done that they need to get done before the end of the day. I don't know if they're still going to do that or not. But what was I going to say about that? I don't even know. I know they were going to make the day shorter. But the time changed. So there's a time difference. So it used to be 3 hours. Now it's 2 hours. So everything that, like if it's, 8 o'clock there, it's 10 o'clock my time. So they're 2 hours behind me. So we'll be starting a little bit later, and then we'll be ending a little bit later on in the afternoon. So just to warn you guys. Hey, AZ. Hey, Ulcer. Oh, I like the new judge. I think he's doing good so far. It says Hippler rules on November 20th that he rules that Kohlberger may be punished with the death penalty if he is convicted. Well, bless you. The dog sneezed. February 19th, Hippler denies several motions filed by Kohlberger's defense to suppress key DNA and other evidence. He also denies the defense's request for a Franks hearing, which is when the defense challenges validity of information used by law enforcement to obtain a search warrant. February 21st, prosecutors say in a filing that the FBI is building a 3D model of the King Road home that would be used for demonstrative purposes to aid the witnesses in their testimony at trial. I want to see that so bad. I hope they wheel that thing out right in front of us. March 4th, an unsealed court document by the defense says Kohlberger exhibits core features of autism spectrum disorder and that if he is found guilty, putting him to death would be unconstitutional. His lawyers also say his mannerisms in court could prejudice the jury if in arguing his trial should not be allowed for capital punishment. Okay, how about this? We just leave Kohlberger out of the courtroom. There we go. There we go. They won't have to look at his bushy eyebrows. They won't have to look at his mannerisms because he is a little creepy. And I'm not saying in an autistic, like that he has autism. I don't think he does. I think that this is all an act. I really do. I really do. We've seen him. We've seen him, in pictures. We've seen him. He does what? Kickboxing. He lost a bunch of weight. He's able to do things. He's not unable to do things. Like she even said that he was unable to do daily living. That's like taking a shower, cooking yourself something to eat. The dude can do that. He was in the doctoral program. You're not going to convince me otherwise. You're just not. I mean, with having autism and getting in the doctoral program, you could totally do that. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I want to make sure we're clear about that because, but I don't think that if he had autism that he would have been able to carry himself that far. I mean, without help, without a lot of help. So either he's extremely high functioning and the autism is like a speck, like a little sprinkle of autism in there, you know what I mean? Or maybe he's ADHD because those two can get tangled, you know what I mean? Like they have a lot of the same, what's the word I'm trying to use? Like symptoms. And I have ADHD. So I have it all. Does anybody want some? An unsealed court document by the defense, So then March 6th, snippets of text messages between the two surviving housemates and 911 transcripts are released as part of newly unsealed documents. The texts indicate confusion between the two housemates as the others won't respond to the text message on the early morning of the killings, and one housemate says she sees someone in a ski mask. March 12th, prosecutors say in court filing that Kohlberger's defense plans to argue at trial that someone may have planted the knife sheath with his DNA inside the King Road home. Why would they put it just under the snap? If someone's going to try to frame you, I mean, come on. They would put it everywhere on there. I mean, they would at least put it a couple different spots. Like, right? Come on now. That doesn't even make any sense to me. Like Ann Taylor, you could think of something. But are you and Brian Kohlberger one and the same? Because you guys come up with some real dumb excuses. Night driving, looking at the stars on a cloudy night. I mean, planted knife sheaths. March 19th, the new court filings include a trove of new details, including that Kohlberger purchased a knife matching the type of knife sheath found in the home and that he took a selfie hours after the killings. Oh, and that is a creepy selfie. Even if he's not guilty, it's still creepy. It just looks creepy. Why would you take a selfie in front of your toilet and your bath? Like, I don't know. That is weird to me. Prosecutors say they want to use that photo to help jurors determine whether he matches the description of the intruder. Basically, they want to see if he has some bushy eyebrows. Basically. But let me rewind this. I'm like that. I'm like that. I'm like, I don't like rule breakers. And I got the patience of nothing. I'm trying to think of other things that that's sensory is a huge one for me. It's just, I have to wear certain brands of clothes. Like I can't do I don't know how to explain it to y'all. It's been like that like my whole life. Now that I'm like looking back on it, I'm like, and I've always ate the same foods and I've always done and I like my I don't like change and I like my little routine that I have. That's just me. Hey, Karina. Right. Plant the victim's DNA. Yep. PKC. Good observation. Yeah. Put some of that DNA in his car in an apartment instead of saying there's lack thereof. Vincent said I should be a lawyer the other day. I said I should. Hey, Brian Wirch. I was just going back up to the chat before we go over to the podcast because I can't see y'all when I'm reading. You've had some clothes for 20 years. Oh, Auburn, you're so lucky. Those are those are back in trend right now. 20 years ago, yeah, I would say. Thank you, Trips True Talk. Exactly. Me too. They said, as a person with ADHD and autism, this new trend of blaming ADHD and autism on bad behaviors or now murder is disgusting. Yeah, really. It is. Like, I mean, I lived with it and didn't know that I had it for 28 years, 29 years. You know what I mean? And I was cool. Really? They did say something about the ads changing. I might have to change them on here. Really, Tony, me too. I am too. The smells, I guess, too, a little bit. I'm the worst with ADHD. Look at me in the chat right now. I'm like, okay. Well, so it's called Crime Scene Weekly, and it's from NBC, and it's a new thing a new podcast that they have out. But they're going to talk about the King Road killings. So the King Road killings is a podcast that we've been watching on the channel. This is like just going to be like another podcast that they're adding to NBC or ABC. I can't read that, but I think it's ABC. I didn't read the description. I can't see that small. But we'll watch this and I'll put up overlays. That way there's something like to look at, that way you're not just like looking at this screen. But they do, I listened to this earlier. She basically kind of goes over like the timeline again. But they go over like the text and the 911 call, the balaclava, just, the K-bar, the sheath, the purchase and everything. They go through like all of the new stuff that's kind of come out. So I thought we would watch this tonight. And then I'll like stop it here and there. We'll commentate over it. And I'll put up, like I said, like an overlay. That way you have something to look at. And I'll be in the chat with you guys because I won't be reading for a minute. So let me see if this is a commercial in the beginning. I can't remember. Let me turn it down actually so it doesn't hurt your ears.
Are you a graduate of the Great Minds Fellowship?
It's a commercial.
We will continue to cover.
Learn more at maj.ohio.gov/greatminds. That's maj.ohio.gov/greatminds.
Hey, everybody, it's Kana Whitworth. Of course, we will continue to cover all the developments in the case against Brian Kohberger in the King Road killings. We're not that far away from trial. But in the meantime, we want to introduce you to a new show, and we think you'll like it. It's called The Crime Scene Weekly. So every week, my colleague, Brad Milkey, who you might know from our daily news show Start Here at ABC, well, he will be sitting down with the journalists that are covering the latest true crime stories in the headlines. These are stories you're familiar with, and some of them can be a bit grisly. But you also know there's breakthroughs. And for my true crime fans out there, no detail is insignificant. We're bringing you true crime in real time. And I had the pleasure of joining Brad as a guest in this episode to talk about the new information coming to light in the Kohberger case. There's been so many filings in just the last few weeks. In fact, we had to add to the episode because we thought it had been put to bed, and then a 300-page filing came down. So I want to share that episode with you now. And if you like it, you can follow the show by searching Crime Scene Weekly wherever you get your podcasts. The new episodes drop every Thursday. Again, it's called Crime Scene Weekly. Here's the episode.
Hey, Crime Scene listeners. As we were about to hit publish on this episode.
Oh, and just to let you know, this guy's voice, I don't know if it'll get on your nerves, but it kind of got on my nerves a little. But then the Keena Wentworth comes on and it just is better. I don't know. Just let me know what you guys think.
In our second episode, something happened. Hundreds of pages of documents were filed by the prosecution last night with some fascinating details, including a final assignment belonging to the suspect, Brian Koberger, who had been studying criminology. And they say this could have a direct bearing on this case. So stick with us at the end of our conversation with ABC News anchor Kana Whitworth, and we will have the latest on that breaking news, in addition to everything coming up right now. For the first time, ABC News has obtained the audio from a 911 call in the Idaho college murders case that shocked the nation. What we've learned could change the way we see the whole case. Welcome to the crime scene. Every week, we talk about the biggest true crime story of the moment with the ABC News reporters who know it best. I'm Brad Milkey. I host ABC's daily news podcast, Start Here. And here, we're going to bring you the latest on what's big and what's new in the true crime scene. This week, we're talking to ABC News correspondent Kana Whitworth, who was the first network reporter on the ground in Idaho and has been closely following this shocking quadruple murder case for over 2 years. Kana's with us now. Hey, Kana.
Hey, Brad.
This case horrified Idaho, but also captivated the nation back in the winter of 2022. You've hosted a whole podcast about this called The King Road Killings, but there's been new developments. Before we get into those, can you just, I guess, walk us through the background of the case?
Yeah, sure. You know, if anyone knows anything about fall in northern Idaho, it's heavenly. And that's when all of this started to unfold. It was late in the football season. I think it was the Vandals' last home game. They'd had a great season. And these 4 students went with all of their friends to the football game, like you do in college. They went out that night. The ones that were 21 went to some bars, got some late night food. The younger ones went to some, parties at a frat house. Greek life is huge on campus at the University of Idaho. It's a big deal. These 4 students were generally beloved by everyone that we spoke with, and they were all heavily involved in Greek life as well. And then, by Sunday morning, everyone was shook to their core. And at the time, when we started to learn that these 4 students had died, there were questions. But then, Brad, when we learned how they died is when this story got really scary, because we learned that all 4 of them had been stabbed to death. Kaylee Gonzalez and her lifelong best friend, Madison Mogan, were found stabbed to death in the upstairs bedroom of this house that was located just off campus on King Road. And on the second floor of this 3-level home, Xana Kernodle and her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, were also found stabbed to death in her bedroom. No murder weapon has ever been found. And at the time, there was no suspect, there was no lead. But what there was these 2 surviving roommates in the home. And when we learned that one of the surviving roommates that night actually told authorities she saw a man clad in black with bushy eyebrows walk past her that night. And then really from there, the other big surrounding question that we're starting to get some answers to finally is this 911 call that was placed nearly 8 hours after authorities think these 4 students were murdered.
And before we even get into the police involvement, the police investigation, can we talk about then what these victims were doing on the night of the murder, Kana?
Yeah, when people are listening to this, I hope that everyone is reminding themselves of what they were like when they were 19, 20, 21, especially if you were in college at the time. Kaylee and Maddie went to one of their favorite bars. It's called the Corner Club. And Moscow is such a neat place. It's a beautiful college town, and it kind of has this one main street. And the Corner Club is sort of at the very end of the main street. And so they were there and they were hanging out with their friends. And then you actually see them later on a street camera, and they're walking down the street. And when I talked to their friends, oh, my heart was beating fast all of a sudden thinking about this. When I talked to their friends after this, they all kind of giggled and laughed about how much they miss the girls and these mannerisms that they could see in this video that they love so much. Maddie's wearing somebody else's huge sweatshirt, and she's kind of like swinging her arms, and really playful. And they go down and they go to this grub truck, and it's that late night food, really popular with all these college students. And you see them on camera there sort of giggling and laughing. And they go home. And so far, that video from that food truck is the last time that we see Kaylee and Maddie alive. We know that Xana and her boyfriend Ethan had also gone to a frat party earlier that night. And then they eventually made their way home as well to the house on King Road. And the other two roommates, the ones that survived, that lived on the first and second floor, were already home at the time.
Okay, so what happens next? Is it goes past midnight into the early morning?
They get home pretty late. Maybe it's normal time for college kids. And what authorities are telling us is that Kaylee and Maddie stayed up till really late, till about 3 a.m. And they were calling Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. It's hard to call him an ex-boyfriend, though, if I'm being honest with you, Brad, because he was so involved in her life still. They shared a dog together and they had been friends for most of their lives, right? So he's a huge factor in her life. And they were calling him until like 3 o'clock in the morning. And then Xana, which I've been told by her friends is a total Xana move, ordered late night delivery food from DoorDash. And that arrives around 4 a.m. And it's 12 minutes later that authorities think someone came into that house. And after that is where things get pretty hazy there.
Hazy how?
For a long time, we've really had to rely on court documents to try to figure out what happened there. So one of the roommates told authorities, and this was all in the probable cause affidavit, told authorities that she thought she heard Kaylee playing with her dog upstairs. Then she heard a voice say, "There's someone here." And according to this surviving roommate, she opened her door to check, but kind of didn't see anything. And then she hears crying. She opened her door again. And at that point, Brad, according to these documents, she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Well, around that same time, Brad, a surveillance camera that's next door to this home hears the audio of what authorities think are voices, maybe a whimper, and it's followed by a loud thud and then a dog barking. So the next time this roommate opens her door, this is the third time now, she tells authorities this person walked essentially right past her towards their sliding glass door. And really, Brad, up until recently, that was all we knew. It was nothingness after that.
What do you mean nothing? What happens next?
Well, for a long time, we didn't know. And there was all these questions because the thing is, Brad, that authorities think the murders happened between 4 and 4:25 in the morning. And nobody called 911 until almost noon the next day. I mean, I talked to a neighbor who told me he got up that morning and went to work and drove past the house and came back home.
Wow.
Like all in that time frame.
Wow. And the new development here is you got your hands on the audio of that 911 call, right?
Yeah. Look, we have been asking for this 911 call for so long because it doesn't make sense to us why there would be this nearly 8-hour gap in between someone seeing someone in the house, hearing all of that stuff, and finally alerting 911. We first got a readout of this call, and that was one thing, Brad, to read it, but to hear it is so different because you hear this panic and this confusion. And there's so many people on the call because these surviving roommates called their friends over that morning for help before they called 911. And they're passing the phone around and the dispatcher is frustrated. And one of the things that has really stuck with me, Brad, is that, I've spent a lot of time speaking with Kaylee Gonzalez's parents. And her mother, Christy, has told me for a really long time that she didn't want this 911 call to be released. She didn't want to have to hear it. She knew that it would just break her heart. And it is heartbreaking. It is hard to listen to. But what Kaylee's dad, Steve, also points out is that the confusion for him also paints a picture of innocence around these roommates.
Okay, and we're going to take a quick break right here. When we come back, we will hear the audio of that 911 call and talk about what it means for this case.
Are you a graduate of the Great Minds Fellowship or a...
There's Inspire, the
Alone. View your rate at SoFi.com.
About 5 minutes, which we're going to play right now. And
Your credit score. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A. Member FDIC. Terms and conditions at SoFi.com/debt. NMLS 696891.
okay, we're
Okay, I'm just going to pause it for just a second and let me get my screens back up. There I am. I wanted to show you this picture really quick. I should have moved this. Should have kept my camera off because I can never blow up a picture with you all on the camera. Watch. I bet this doesn't even work. Look, there I am. Like I can never blow up pictures with you guys on here. So this is a little bit of it blown up. You can see in the back the eyes and everything, but I'm going to try to get it. I don't know if I can get it anymore. Oh, wait. I did it. Hold on. I did it and then it stopped. Okay, it looks like that's as far as I can go. But you can see, like, can you see my cursor? Like, oh, you can't see nothing. Like, you can't see nothing. I didn't put it on the stage. Okay, let me actually put me in the back. Where the heck's this stuff at? Or down here, so you guys can see it a little better. Okay, so you can see like the red, the eyes with the eyebrows right there. You can see. Let me actually get on the picture so I can like point it right here. Like, I don't know if you can see it with my cursor or not, but the red, like the red face. Yeah, you can see it with my cursor. The eyebrows, they're not very prominent. In my opinion, they look like regular eyebrows. Then she's got a face down here and it's got some crazy hair. I don't know what this is. I think it's a pug or like a dog of some sort, or I don't know what the hell that is. I can't tell you. But then down here, there's one more picture of an eye and the eyebrow. To me, it looks like a regular eyebrow for that time. And I just don't see that they're prominent. If they were prominent, I think that they'd be a little bushier. Do you know? To me, that's just my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. But I wanted to, yeah, PKC, me either. Yeah. I can't see it either. It does Tony Cloud in black. Yeah. I think the officer might have taken that, like, and put his own wording in that. I think that they actually said that in one of the court hearings too, maybe. But yeah, it looks like the back of a woman's, like, you know, the back, and then like maybe this is the front of her. Just like pretty pictures, you know, she's drawing. I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, this one with the red, like this red face stuff looks kind of weird. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's like, you know, blood or anything. I just think it's a picture that she drew. She probably thought that she would never be blown up that much. She's probably like, dang, girl, get me off the screen that much. Okay, so we'll go back to the podcast now. But I've been meaning to show that to you, and I kept forgetting.
We're back with Kana Whitworth. ABC News has obtained the 911 call of that fateful night in Moscow, Idaho, which we're going to play right now. And just a warning to listeners, we're going to play almost the whole call here. The only thing authorities redacted is the phone number given by the caller. You'll hear silence there. This call is disturbing, so if you don't want to hear it, I would skip ahead about 5 minutes. Okay, here's the call.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something's happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
And right there, I guess it's the white apartment that's across the street, not the house that's beside them, I believe. I had told you guys earlier that I thought it was the residence maybe at the 1112 house. But I I believe it's actually the apartment across the street, the one that's been blurred out by Google Earth blurred it out.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi,
and are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, we gotta go check. But we have to.
Oh man, sad.
Wait, can I just pause this, Kena? Because it sounds clear to me like they know something's wrong, but they have not even gone in the room where these bodies are.
Yeah, that's the thing, Brad, is there's so much confusion surrounding all of this, right? And the calm person that you heard on the call, by the way, was a friend from across the street. She says, I live in the Whites. They're these apartment buildings that everyone in Moscow knows, right across the street. So she came over and she's calm on that call because the surviving roommate is so upset. I mean, she can't even finish the address. And then she's sort of pleading with the dispatcher, let me tell you what happened. We almost get a clear account from the surviving roommate of what happened. And the dispatcher sort of interrupts her because from the dispatcher's perspective, she needs to know right now what's happening. Is someone passed out? And it is clear that they don't understand the condition of anybody.
Okay, and so let's play the rest of this. This is sort of as they're finding the condition of the bodies here that we now know are past saving.
Okay, and how old is
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say this. Hunter Johnson is a hero in my eyes. He made sure that in my eyes that he made sure those girls didn't see anything. He was like, get out, get out, get out. Instead of just freezing there or being like, go look, oh my gosh, go look. He literally was like, get out, get out, get out now. I just think that for his age, that says a lot about him, you know? Especially finding your best friend.
She's 20.
That's what I was wondering too. Walt, that's what I was going to say. And look at the way that look at the way that is this why he got kicked off the case? He was looking at Kohlberger's butt. So I was going to say, look at Jay Logston looking at Brian. Brian's looking at Ann like he wants to just rip her apart. I don't know why, but he looks mean, doesn't he? Like he looks really mean right there. And yeah. Sir, he does. He's like, just got to check the back. Just checking to make sure the suit fits.
20, you said?
Yes, 20. Here's one. Okay.
We'll never unsee this.
Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
You talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. They need you to talk to them.
Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again. There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I can see it. Do you have a defibrillator? Yep. Yes, we have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Kana, I mean, just listening back to all that, what is your impression of that call?
Yeah, it's so
Oh my God, what if that
hard,
happened
Brad.
though? What if that did happen? Oh, wouldn't that be something? Let's just say, I mean, this is weird and this is conspiracy coming out of me. But what if Ann Taylor got him off of the death penalty, got him off on this whole case, and then he went and he killed her? Like he unalived her? Wouldn't that be, that's like a made for movie. Nobody take my idea. Because I mean, everybody's writing a book about this case already. We want to have a Lifetime movie before too long.
You hear this male voice. He was also one of the friends that came over, and you hear
he's like, I do a 6-minute mile.
him sort of yelling, Ethan, Xana, kind of calling out to them. And then you kind of make out it almost sounds like a get out, real frantic. And then people are running and there's heavy breathing and panting and panic at that point starts to set in. And then that male voice takes the phone and is asked, is she breathing? And he says, no. The composure in that young man is remarkable, especially given what we know happened. And so I do still think that there's questions about the layout of this house. And I asked Kaylee Gonzalez's parents, was Xana's door open? And at this point, they tend to think that it's open. But what they're telling me, Brad, is that by just kind of poking your head in there, perhaps you still couldn't make out the horror of what really happened.
And then just not to dwell on this too much, but I think a lot of people might go, hello, these people, there was a man in your house at 4 something in the morning. Why did it take this long? I mean, is there a sense as to why nothing happened for so long?
Well, one thing also is that the surviving roommate at one point told authorities, she thought maybe this person was a firefighter or something. At one point, this person she saw was carrying a vacuum type object. There's just a lot of confusion here. And according to the defense, the surviving roommate had been drinking. She also is the kind of person who had lucid dreams.
And just to back things up a bit, like the details that you're mentioning, those were in past court filings. The detail about the surviving roommate drinking and being prone to those lucid dreams was mentioned in a filing by the defense.
But then also there's these new court filings, Brad, that paint a picture sort of minute by minute of what happened based on the communication between these two surviving roommates. And we know that, the one surviving roommate there on the second floor, the one who saw the man clad in black, initially started calling, all the girls in the house, Kaylee, Maddie, Xana. And then she finally connects with the surviving roommate there on the first floor, and they start texting back and forth. And their text messages are, that of young girls that are very confused.
And they're within the house. They're texting to each other just from different rooms.
Exactly.
Huh.
One is on the first floor. One is on the second floor. This is also the floor where Xana and Ethan were killed. And then there's a third floor where Kaylee and Maddie were killed. And this roommate on the second floor is the one that starts all these communications, right? Calling all the girls, texting everyone. And she finally hears back from that roommate on the first floor, and they have this whole text exchange.
What do they say? What are they texting at that point?
Yeah. I mean, so again, a reminder here, these are young college girls, and, they're saying like, what's going on? And then there's some confusion because, they're saying, wait, Xana was in all black earlier. And then the roommate says, no, but it was like a ski mask almost. And then describes something over his forehead and mouth. And then they start to get scared. And then she says, my phone's going to die. And the roommate on the first floor says, come to my room, run, come down here now. And the first filing that we got, Brad, said there wasn't a lot of communication after that. There was a few texts where she was pleading with the victims to answer their phones, and they weren't. And then at 10:23 a.m., she again is pleading with them to answer their phones, and they don't. And then she contacts her dad. And then, then the 911 call is made. It just paints a really horrifying picture. And it's interesting because the way these filings come out in this story, the defense has entered a new filing in saying, no, these roommates were communicating a lot more than you think. And they were up at 7 a.m. and they were on social media. And if they were so afraid, why didn't they leave? Why didn't they call 911?
That's what's so confusing, Kana. Right, is kind of like, that there is communication happening, and yet it's not like, hey, let's find out what happened. And there's hours where nothing happens, so you're wondering, like, did they go to sleep? Are they just kind of in denial? Is it all of the above? Do we have answers to that, I guess?
I try to get the perspective here from Kaylee's dad. He's spoken with all of these kids, and generally what he thinks here is that what this goes to show is the innocence of these young kids who were partying and never in a million years could have imagined that that is what happened to their friends.
The one name we haven't said so far, Kana, is Bryan Kohberger, right? He has emerged as the suspect in this case. His lawyers say he's innocent, but that all brings us to kind of another interesting fold here, which is how he was arrested and how the FBI says it found DNA linking him to this. What can you tell us about that?
So this was a 6-week manhunt. They had no suspect for a really long time. This community was on edge. What happened, according to authorities, is that this knife sheath was left behind. They swabbed it. They found DNA on it. And they tried to make a profile of this DNA. So what they first do is they run it through the law enforcement system. But if you're not in the law enforcement system, nothing's going to ping. And what happened, according to authorities, is that they used investigative genetic genealogy. Now, some consider this to be very controversial, to link Bryan Kohberger to these crimes. And they build out a family tree and a profile. And this got linked to Bryan Kohberger's dad.
Right. And investigative genetic genealogy. This is where you get DNA, like from a knife sheath. You load that data onto public genealogy sites and you build out a family tree from there, right? So what was happening with Kohberger at that time?
In the meantime, in this 6 weeks, Bryan Kohberger, a former PhD student at Washington State University, has left Pullman, Washington, driven across the country with his father in a white Hyundai Elantra.
I remember this. He was going home for the holidays, right?
Mm-hmm. Gets pulled over twice, makes it home just around Christmas time. Well
10
once
days
authorities
before.
make this link to Bryan Kohberger's dad, they start surveilling the house. Around that same time, a Washington State police officer in Pullman is looking for white Hyundai Elantras, and he finds one. And he pulls up the driver's license, and he says, this person has bushy eyebrows. And as the authorities are surveilling Bryan Kohberger, what we know from a recent filing here from the judge in Boise is that they had to move in quick for this very dramatic late night arrest because they thought perhaps he was destroying evidence in the car that they believed to be linked to this case. So they move in quick and he is arrested and he is very quickly extradited to Idaho because, according to his lawyers at that time, he was eager to be exonerated. And, so authorities want to say that it was very clean cut how they used this genetic genealogy and made their way to Bryan Kohberger. But Kohberger's lawyers have really fought this.
What were his lawyers objecting to?
First of all, the FBI worked with this trash collection company that went through the Kohberger neighborhood, which is a gated neighborhood in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and collect trash, and that they brought the trash to the FBI.
Oh, so they're like, hey, it's not cool that A, you're using genealogy to find out, this links to your dad somehow, and B, that you're doing all these hopscotches with DNA, which, by the way, you got through a trash collection company.
And the thing is, Brad, the judge isn't buying it in Boise right now. Okay, so he's going to let this go in. And after the judge made that decision, there was another really interesting filing that came down from the state. And that filing indicated that Bryan Kohberger's defense team plans to argue that this key piece of evidence this knife sheath could have been planted at the scene by the real perpetrator. And perhaps that's why it contained Brian Kohberger's DNA.
Hey, and when we're talking about Kohberger, he's in custody right now. There's the chance that he could face the death penalty, and yet that is one of the other big developments recently, right? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, so this is a capital case. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. And Brian Kohberger's lawyers have tried to have it taken off the table multiple times. But their most recent argument is that it should be taken off the table because they say he has autism spectrum disorder. And they say that it could create a bias within the jury based on his general mannerisms.
Oh, like his mannerisms might make him seem less sympathetic or seem less caring, but maybe it's related to his disorder.
Sure, like he might not be reacting the way someone without ASD would to something in court, and that could potentially bias the jury. They talk about his rocking back and forth, and they feel like all of these mannerisms are sinister in a way, that they can be perceived that way. And so they're worried about how that comes off in the media, how that jury would see that. And they also say, Brad, that him being described as socially awkward shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, because that, according to his lawyers, is a hallmark of his disability. And so they're pushing back on that, and they're doing that at the same time that a law was just signed by the governor in Idaho that makes Idaho the only state in this country where execution by firing squad is the main means of execution.
Well, and so at the end of the day, Kana, I mean, with this audio that you guys have obtained, I guess, how does this sort of affect your overall view of the case and where it goes next? Because there have been so many twists and turns.
I think we just finally have a lot of information now. And I think we have a lot more information than we thought we would have. And the thing that we don't want to overlook right now, Brad, is the most recent filing in which prosecutors allege Brian Kohberger purchased a K-bar style knife and a sheath on Amazon 8 months before these murders.
And actually, we got a reply filing this week on that purchase. The defense is arguing that the Amazon account was used by the whole Kohberger family, meaning the knife could have been purchased, yes, but not necessarily, they say, by Brian Kohberger.
It's also important to point out here that this murder weapon has never been found. So there's still so many outstanding questions, Brad.
Wow. And trial starts in August. Kana Whitworth, I know you'll be there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Brad.
Now, as I mentioned at the very top of this episode, after Kana and I recorded this conversation, we got some late-breaking news. ABC has gotten their hands on a filing that was released Wednesday afternoon, like this Wednesday. The filing includes some stunning details about Brian Kohberger. So I've called up Kana to get the latest. Kana, thank you for coming back on short notice. You've had a little bit of time with this filing. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, Brad, glad to be back with you. And that's the thing about this case right now is this is fascinating because there's been a lot of focus on Brian Kohberger's education throughout all of this. And what we're hearing from the state now, buried in this filing that was released, is this homework assignment that Brian Kohberger did. It's called the Crime Scene Scenario Final. And this was done when he was at DeSales University in Pennsylvania. So this was prior to him being at Washington State, prior to him pursuing his PhD. But this sort of lays out what he was doing there at DeSales. And it's really, really detailed. What this homework assignment essentially is Brian Kohberger describing how, if you were an investigator, how you would analyze a crime scene. And Brad, it's eerie because this crime scene that Brian Kohberger has laid out for his final involves a white woman who's dead. She's 35 years old as he writes it out. And Brian Kohberger talks about the steps you would take to make sure that you don't contaminate the crime scene, right? How to make sure that you don't leave fingerprints, how you take photos, mostly how you would notice the bruises on the victim's face, the marks on her neck, specifically a bloody shirt, because this was a stabbing murder.
But you're saying this is specifically about what police will be looking for at a crime scene, like deep knowledge of what authorities would want to get their hands on.
Exactly. And he also talks about the things that you have to notice in the crime scene, especially on the victim and the surrounding areas, things like defense wounds, or what he writes in here is hesitation marks on her related to the knife, or trying to find out if there are multiple stab wounds. And he talks about Brad doing things like making sure you're wearing gloves, right? Making sure that you're completely covered and that it can't be a fibrous material that you're covered in, that you have to bring forceps and small tweezers and a pair of scissors. The detail is just fascinating. I'm going to read directly to you if I can. It says, I must ensure that myself and my fellow crime scene personnel are wearing gloves and other protective equipment as to avoid contaminating the scene with latent fingerprints. And then that's when he goes into the fiber-free stuff, right, Brad? Covering your mouth, covering your hair, because you don't want to get saliva, skin cells, any bodily fluids in this scene. It's several pages long. And one other thing that stood out to me, I should make sure to swab under her fingernails to see if the DNA of the offender is there. She likely dug into their skin. And he notes in his homework that if there's not forced entry, it may be suggested that the woman knew her killer. And then he actually uses the words crimes of passion are rooted in emotionality and impulsivity. And Brad, when these murders happened on King Road, investigators right away talked about just how personal a crime like this is. When you stab someone, you have to get up close and personal to them. And it really haunted investigators from the beginning. And in fact, the mayor took a lot of heat because he questioned openly, had it been a crime of passion? It's a little bit eerie, Brad, but also this is part of what they have to do. This is part of their final. This is
Well, yeah, the mayor said that like the second day in. No one wanted to hear that.
part of their responsibility as a student.
I was going to say, he was studying criminology, right? So, I mean, how does this then play into the trial that's coming up, or how will prosecutors try to use this?
I think prosecutors are probably going to use this to showcase his knowledge and the things that he understood about how a crime scene would be analyzed. I think it's also important to remind everybody that when he was arrested, his professor at DeSales told the Daily Mail about what a brilliant student he was, that she had, never really recommended all but one other student for a PhD program. So there's just so many wild facts to be dug up about his time at DeSales.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if this
Look, he
even
can
gets
smile.
admitted into evidence, let alone whether a jury thinks it's relevant. But if people say, like a murderer
right
makes
there
100
too.
mistakes, the implication from the prosecutors here seems to be that if this is the guy, that he might have made a few less than that. Kana Whitworth, thank you for covering this late breaking news.
Brad, thank you. And thanks for your dedication.
I'm down here. Sorry. Had to it took me a minute to get off the site. Okay. Oh, hey Margo. So on the push that listening. So they are going to have the new the Idaho Killings podcast that we normally listen to with Keena Wentworth. She'll be putting that out, I think, this week or next week, because I saw that it's coming soon. So that's pretty exciting. We've been watching these since they started, and we've seen at least like 15 of these, I would say. And then there's another podcast we did. We probably had like 10 or 15 of those. So we've been on the podcast trail for a little while. Hey, Lori. Welcome in. Oh, that's okay, Triple L. It was pretty good live. You'll have to rewind. We listened to a podcast, and then I just went over the like the case summary from the beginning, like, new timeline that's out. So if you need any help with the timeline, it was a good live. See, I wouldn't take the slider. I would take the front because the front was darker, like more undercover. I feel like it's easier to get down the front. The back was all weird, like that hilly. And then you have to come up that other little hill. to get up on the landing. And then all those lights were so bright that were on, like they were on the front of the door and then along the side of the house. So I don't know. To me, I just have always thought the front door, and the neighbor said the front door was open that morning. And I just have always thought that. I don't know why. But I mean, he definitely could have came in the back slider. That's what the police are, kind of leaning towards. But I'm just leaning towards the other one. So. Oh, that's so sad, Mary Beth. Is that a new one? Is that the new case they just were talking about today? They found her like in like hunters or something found her? Let me see. I don't know if it's no, it's not. That's really sad. After his father's arrest, well, he was doing something to her, wasn't he? Sexually assaulted. Oh my God. Oh my. Wow. Mary Beth, this is Ohio. Oh my God, this is Ohio. Oh my. Okay, we're going to put this up for a minute. What the heavens? You covered this tonight, True Crime Lullabies? This is insanity. I don't know how to say her name, so we're going to have it speech for us. Hopefully I'll say it right. Keemany. Oh my God. It says essayed, hands cut off, and nearly decapitated. Oh my God. Why are people like this? And Toledo's way far away from me if anybody wants to know. Nothing ever comes around near me. Actually, Columbus is closer to me, but Toledo is like way up on, in northern Ohio. I'm like southern Ohio. Authorities in Ohio have announced the cause of death for Keemany. I want to make sure I'm saying her name right. Keemany? Okay. The 13-year-old found dead in a burned building days after she was last seen with her father. She was reported missing on March 18th in Toledo, Ohio. I didn't even hear about this. Police issued an arrest warrant for her father, Darnell Jones, on Sunday, March 23rd, in connection with her abduction, according to a statement from the Toledo Police Department. She was found in a burned-out abandoned building in Toledo on Monday, after which authorities rendered an arrest warrant for Jones on a murder charge. He was arrested on Tuesday by Columbus police after allegedly exchanging gunfire with officers, sustaining critical wounds. I hope they really, really hurt. I hope they get infected. The Lucas County Coroner's Office has now announced the cause of Keemany's death. Police documents refer to her. It's the same name, right? Keemany. The autopsy revealed she died from multiple incised wounds of the neck. Man, where's her mom, I wonder? Brian Still, a lieutenant with the Columbus Police Department, tells people that the child was found in a horrific condition. She had allegedly been nearly decapitated, essayed, and her hands were cut off. Why take the hands? Was he trying to he was trying to take the things that could identify her. Oh, he's a sick bastard. In arrest warrants revealed by People, Toledo police allege Jones provided inconsistent statements to police about his activity with his daughter, as well as his whereabouts. When Columbus police approached him on Tuesday, Jones allegedly shot at an officer with a gun from inside his sweatshirt. Officers opened fire on him, critically injuring him. Steele says he is now in stable condition. The officer was not injured. That's good news. And that looks like the burned out house. Oh my God. At a vigil, oh my God, nearly 100 people came together with candles, flowers, and balloons. Oh, that's so sad. It says she was really nice no matter what. Keelan said, per the Blade, even if people kept messing with her, picking with her, she'll always be nice. That's sad. That brought tears to my eyes. It was on her birthday. Oh my God. That's so sad. I don't know why. Let me go over to True Crime. Why have I not get your things? There we go. It's so sad. Man. Oh, the vigil was on the B-Day. Okay. The old gun in the sweatshirt trick. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised I didn't hear about this because of Columbus. Like, I'm surprised I didn't hear they had a shootout, but I don't ever have the local news on. I need to be having my local news on more. This is so sad. That's sad. Like, what's wrong with people? Like, on like Sundays or something, I thought about covering cases like this that aren't well known and doing like 4 or 5, and just reading through the articles and just like getting the story out. Cause I know, like Law and Crime and a lot of those places, they'll like, have like these random cases and they're really interesting. And it like, they don't get the attention, that like, because maybe they're like kind of over, or they're like, they're just not trending for some reason, but I feel like we could do that over here. We could put them out. Oh, mom's doing interviews on TikTok. Oh, well, she's on the wrong app, but she's never had custody. So who had custody of her? The dad? Yeah, it was gifted to the college after the crime. Yeah. Yeah. That's sad. She was always nice. Like, most kids that are abused and tortured and stuff like that, like, they are really nice. The grandmother, okay, I was gonna say that just because usually grandmom stick, they usually, step in when they need to. Was it his mom or her mom? I can't imagine. Yeah, I just resubscribed. For some reason, True Crime otherwise I wasn't subscribed, and I know I was. I hate YouTube when YouTube does that. That's done that to me before, and it subscribes me to channels. Have you ever had yourself subscribe to a channel? That's a new one for me. That's happened like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, I'm not even subscribed to these channels. And now it's taking my channels away. What is it doing? But I'm back. Because people will come in and be like, oh, True Crime Lullabies is live. And I'm like, well, how did I not know? I wouldn't have went live. I would have waited a little longer. We friends. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I've been drinking out of my cup that you got me, my circle cup, and they have a new one that's like a Stanley like this. We saw it today at Target. And I was like, ooh, I was like, that's pretty. Vince was like, keep walking. Keep walking, lady. It was pretty funny. I was looking at all kinds of stuff though. He's been doing good though, at letting me look and him just sticking with me. But sometimes I let him sit in the car. Yeah, they're pretty big though. Like they're pretty large. This one I have is a 30 ounce. I got like the smaller one. I actually had this tagged on my last a couple lives ago. The cup. Thank you, Hazel Eyes. Thank you for the super sticker. That's really nice. Thank you. The whole family, however, are dysfunctional. Man, so she didn't have a chance. That's sad. Well, Mary Beth, you just dragged me down. I'm just kidding. I'm glad that you said something. I'm glad I saw that. Okay. Have a good night. Yeah, I don't know how it unsubscribed me over there. Because of course I'd be subscribed to True Crime Lullabies. It's my girl. Yeah, I just went over there. I'm like, why am I not subscribed? I wanted to do a case on. Now I can't think of her name. I wanted to do it. I wanted to cover the what is her last? Well, I know her last name. I just can't think of her first name. I don't know if this isn't it. Well, shoot. I'll have to think of the girl's name. She's the missing. Is this it? Yeah. Is it Nikki Chin? I think her name is. I'm just seeing what this person wrote. I just thought maybe we could start a new case. And if you guys have a case that you want me to cover, let me know. And we can do something. We can figure it out. I'm usually pretty easy to work with. If you know, like if that's how I did the Sebastian case, but I'm out of that. I'm done with that one. But that case went to hell in a handbasket. But Terry Dean had actually reached out to me on the 3rd of March and asked me if I'd cover it, and I did. And then it went crazy. But I did hear that Seth did a live, and I clicked on it for a minute. I clicked on it and I shouldn't have. And you saw a whole other person come out of me. He was literally saying that Sebastian never left the house. If someone tells me that again, I'm gonna like literally drive to their house and like flick them in the face. Because what do you mean? Is he in the walls then? If he never left the house, what do you mean? What do you mean? Then he was saying that Katie did it. And I went off on, Vincent was in here. He was sitting in his computer, at his computer desk for once. And I'm like, you know, and I hurried and I like took it off. Like I just got out of there. I was like, just get out of there. Don't even watch this crap. Because you're going to change the title of your stream and you're going to go like, you know, crazy woman, which I haven't done that yet. You did the same thing. Yeah. Pissed me off too. Yeah. Like I thought they were working together because I thought we had like, you know, they did the America's Most Wanted. And then he comes out once a month and just bashes her for money. That's what it is, because we get paid once a month and you have to have at least so many, you have to have at least $100 in per month to get paid out on YouTube. And he well surpassed that. Yeah. I would too, Tony. I'd stay far away. I would. Oh yeah, I wouldn't cover true crime alibis. I mean, it's sad that I say that, but I wouldn't. And that's the thing. The people that could have got his name out there and could have done real justice and got like real help for him are the ones that are stepping back. Do you see Annie Elise, Kimberlia, any of those girls? Like, do you see them? Kendall Ray, any of them covering this case? Hell's to the no. They're like, we out. You know, y'all are crazy. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Hey, Bullets and Bling. Man. Oh, you're fine, Trips to talk. Yeah, I know. I told Vincent, I was like, I hate him. I said, and that's sad. I really dislike the guy. I said, you should never feel like that about like a missing person's father. But it's his actions and his words that are just despicable. I mean, right? True crime alibis. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was always putting out the facts of the case. I mean, they're you know, we was watching like, you know, sets spinning and everything. But, you know, for the most part, we were putting out the facts of the case, getting the flyer out, doing those things. And people didn't want to hear that. But now that all this drama is going on, this drama is sick. It's sickening. All of these people, all these creators, they're all wrong for doing this. They're doing it all for money, for your money. Yeah. I don't even know. I just know some of these people better not try to come back towards true crime because they are not true crime. And we are sticking with true crime over here. Now on the second channel, we're going to be doing some cooking. Oh, and who was it? One of you guys, it was a guy. I know it was a guy because we were talking about me making the cake. I'm going to bake a cake sometime this week. Vincent took Friday off, so I didn't do it Friday, but I got cake pans. I'm so excited to use them instead of like a sheet pan, you know, like how you just do like a sheet cake. I can actually do like a circle cake. I don't know. It's the little things, guys. It's the little things. I don't know how to cook very well. So we're doing this out of a box. I'm not going to lie about that. We're going to do it out of a box a couple times, at least once, and then we're going to try to move on to the real deal. But if I can bake Vincent a pretty decent cake out of a box, and you know, then maybe he'll get us some more stuff to cook with. Yes. Trips. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. People are, I mean, as soon as Seth went off of his live, people were going to be streaming it right away. Like, that's just how it's just like, you know, well, you can just come and watch me bake on my second channel. I'm over there at TitaniumBuilt. Wonder if I have it. It'll come through the chat here in a minute there we go. I'm about to say it'll come in through the Nightbot in a second. You love to bake, but you don't like to cook. See, I used to love to cook and bake and do all those things. And then after my mom died, I just stopped. Like I would bake for her and cook for her, like when she got older. And she would just like the way that we had the fun that we had when we cooked together. We would be listening to music and dancing around and just being funny and having fun. And not that I won't have that with Vincent, because I would, but like, I don't know. I haven't got to that point where like I want to start cooking again. I'm actually there now. I'm there now because I want to feed Vincent good food. I feel so bad for this guy. He's been eating plain for 9 years now. There is still a sale. Yeah, if you put in summer sale, you'll get 20% off. And if you spend over 50, I'll send out a what should we do this time? We'll do earrings. I'll send out some earrings. Have a good night, Trips. And thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. You cook everything from scratch. You never follow a recipe. Oh my gosh. Tony, I bet that's amazing. I have the old cookbook. Well, True Crime Lullabies got me a cookbook. She made it for me, and I love that. I think it's so cute. But that orange Betty Crocker from the 70s, 80s cookbook that everybody had? I have one. And it has my mom and my grandmother's recipes in them. So I thought that would be like a really good book to start with because I mean, like, those are the foods that I like, my comfort foods, So I think that'd be fun. I can see that, Mary Beth. You cook a lot. You cook a whole lot. But I want to cook something for Vincent, like I cook him some stuff, but it's not like really like that much. So, and I want to like learn how to like bake and make like Japanese cuisine. Now that's going to take me a minute, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure Vincent's mom has some good recipes. So if you're listening, Haru, send me the good recipes. So I would even need one for miso soup. And I know that's like 2 things. That's water and I don't even know what they put in there, but he loves it. Captain, you cook from scratch too, man. Maybe I can, hey, I'll look at my Betty Crocker book and I'll see if I can find the banana nut bread recipe for you. I'll have to have Vincent go out there tomorrow and get it out of the box. I have a box of like pictures and just stuff that was like a dress that was my mom's, I think her robe or something. So, wow, you guys are going to teach me how to cook. I like this. Y'all know how to cook. Y'all can teach me. Baking is supposed to be relaxing. That's what I want it to be. Just like relaxing channel and a hangout channel and hello, life vlogging channel and just, where we can go and hang out and you guys can get to know me better. And, I mean, being a member, like the memberships, like if you're a member, I do put like more personal things over there, like for that, but I'm going to put just as much over, on the second channel as well. Cause I want you guys to get to know me, get to know the animals more. I want you guys to get to know Araya. She's not all bad. No, she's good. She's just standing beside me. I don't know what she wants. What does she want? Are you ready to go out there and go find your daddy? Huh? Oh, Mia just put her head up. If I say like daddy's home, they run to the front door. It's the cutest thing ever. It's the cutest thing ever. I bet you right now he's laying in bed with the cat. I guarantee you. That cat loves him. It's supposed to be my cat. I've had him since I was 22 years old, and he like absolutely loves Vincent. And I think it's the cutest thing ever. I asked Vincent today, I said, if something happened to me, would you take care of Rocky? He's like, heck yeah. I was like, I know you would. Like, I'm asking him just in case. Just in case. My home, see, you had home ec teachers, Captain. That's what's good about us. I had them too. I almost burnt the school down twice, but that's another story for another day. but but yeah, no, we had home ec, and you could get 1.25 credit for home ec. So who was not? Everyone took home ec, right? But then they took it out. Triple L, I think. Okay, so since the beginning of this case, I thought it might have been like a bully situation where he left the house to meet school buddies, he thought, but they were really like bullies, and maybe they thought they were going to beat him up, and it went a little too far. But now that I've heard everything that I've heard from everybody in this case, the parents and on all ends, he could have ran out that night and just got lost in the woods, and maybe he couldn't find his way back. That's what I think happened to him. I think that he's still closer to home, but they just haven't found him. And I hope they find him. I really hope they find him soon. Like today would be great. Like right now would be awesome. That'd be great, because that little boy deserves to be found. Like everybody has put this boy, this Sebastian Rogers, they have thrown him over here to the wayside, and they're just talking about each other and how each other are just the worst in true crime. And it's like, well, you're not even talking about true crime. So I don't know what you're doing. But all they do is just fight. I'm just here to see the fights, I guess. It's going to all crash and burn. It's going to crash and burn. Do you notice that creators are doing 2 lives a day now? Yeah. I think it's because their views are going down a little bit, because people are about done listening to this case. It's all about drama, right? And summer is coming, y'all, right? Like, aren't we going to go outside and like enjoy the sun and go and like get in the pool and like play tennis? Like, that's what I plan on doing. We have a tennis court here. We got a swimming pool. We've got barbecue. We got lounges. We've got cabanas. Your girl is going to be outside with her feet up, getting a tan, getting the vitamin D, and then I'll be out there with y'all too. But yeah, that's what we need to be doing this summer. We can't be inside on the keyboard. You know what I mean? It's just it ain't worth it. Make sure you get outside and get some sun. Yeah, the drama's been crazy in that case. Oh, I miss my mom's cooking. And I'm so sorry about your mom just passing. I'm so sorry. It's not easy at any age. I only got her for 30 years. That's wrong. I get mad about that sometimes. I do. But I feel bad for my mom. I feel like that my mom and dad got cheated out of things, like they didn't get to see some of their grandchildren be born. They didn't get to see me grow up and I, get older and get myself in such a great position. You know what I mean? Like, and be in such a good spot. I feel bad for them too. So I'm sorry, Classic One. It's really hard losing your mom, especially your mom. Moms are moms. When you need someone, when you want someone, you want to yell at, like you want someone to yell at, like to, not at, but like to, and like that's your go-to person. That's what's great about moms. I have Vincent, and I just yell at him. Oh, Triple L, they do. You're right. I just wish I could hear them say I'm proud, which I know they are. I know my dad especially. He would have been here. If I had a YouTube channel when my dad was alive, I wouldn't be right here. He would be here. I would be like back there, lucky to get a seat with the dog, because he would want to come on and talk to you guys. He was the funniest man on earth too. Like, he hands down funniest guy. Yeah. I miss both of them. So, well, if you need anything, Classic One, write to one of us. My email is titaniumbuiltboo@gmail.com. And we're here for you. Oh, lawn and yard work. So you get sun. Sometimes I ride my bike around to get some. Oh, I like that. See? And aren't you older, Captain? And you're still riding your bike. You're getting your stuff done. The lawn. Oh man, not me. I mowed my yard when I was 23 one time. And I was like, I'll never mow again. I didn't realize that it had the bar that you have to like pull up so it like goes like smoother. So you don't have to push it as hard. I didn't know until the last strip. And I put that bar up and I like flew across the grass. Oh, thanks, Mary Beth. He did. I had good parents. Really, Michael? We used to order out every night. We used to be really bad about ordering out. We're trying to like not do that anymore. And we've done a 180 on like what we, how many times we eat out. Like today we wanted to get breakfast. Like we didn't have any breakfast food at the house. And we're like, oh, we want breakfast. Instead of like ordering, we just went ahead and like went to the store and got it. I forced it all. Wolf, yeah. My mom had to come out and get me. And because I was so red, I was so mad because a friend of mine was supposed to mow my yard for me. I was gone for 3 days. Only 3 days. This yard looked like I had not mowed it in like 3 years. I mean, it was like this high. We have an HOA, like, so I'm out there pushing this thing. And I'm like, how did Dad do this? Smoking a cigarette, in one hand, a Budweiser in the other. My dad would be out there like all day. I'm like, how did he do it? And then I figured it out. 64? That's awesome. Yeah, you can definitely have muscles at 64. Me and Vincent, we've been watching this one lady that's like 70 something and she just won like one of the body contest. I'm like, she makes you want to go work out. I need pictures like that everywhere of people that are buff so I can be like, go work out. No, I've been working out. I haven't the last 2 days. I've been eating everything. But I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to go see where Vincent is. But thank you for being here tonight, guys. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for sticking over and staying over and talking to me too. I'll be back on tomorrow. I don't know if I'll do a day live, but I will do an evening live. And maybe we could do like case discussion, like overall. We'll find like different cases to cover. Like maybe do some that are like less known. I think that would be fun. But I'll be back on tomorrow for sure. So don't forget about me. No, I know you guys won't. Don't forget though, to set your alarm if you don't have the bell icon alerted. Cause I do sometimes post like video shorts or reels or whatever they are. I post them over here. I also do have a TikTok that I post videos that I don't post on YouTube that are like funnier, and stuff. So if you guys want to check out my TikTok, it's there. I have a Twitter that I post to that sometimes I don't bring the post over to, YouTube. I have a Facebook. I have a Instagram. I have it all. Everything is all TitaniumBuilt. But thank you guys for being here tonight, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how.